What does the G-force feel in your body at 300 miles an hour?
It's very intense, and it feels like somebody is trying to squeeze the life out of you, literally. And you feel your stomach touch your backbone, and you feel like you can't breathe for that split second. But that's the rush of driving a top fuel dragster at over 300 miles an hour.
What advice do you have for someone trying to get involved with an NHRA team?
Depends at what level they want to get involved, whether that be a crew person, whether that be a crew chief, a driver, just somebody helping out here at the races. So it depends on what they want to do. If it's a crew chief position or a driver position, they need to come back to the owner and talk to the owner and put a resume together and do it that way. If it's a crew person position, they need to get with the crew chief because the crew chief hires all of the crew people. And if it's coming out and working hospitality, you need to get with the hospitality manager and get involved that way.
With the canopy, is it easier or harder to focus on the tree?
You know, I think it's about the same. I'm still looking through glass. I'm still in the same spot. It took a while to get used to it because it was probably 16 years of doing the same thing and then switching over, more the uncomfort of something new. But in reality, you can see the car just fine either way. Seems to fog up less than my helmet in the canopy than it used to, but we'll have to see. We haven't really hit the conditions where we're seeing fog yet, but I seem to like it. I think that as time goes on and other drivers try it out, they're going to like it too.
What kind of block is used in a top fuel dragster?
Well, the motors that we have here make lots and lots of power for many, many reasons, but the blocks that we actually run are billet aluminum blocks. They come from a 426 style block actually came out of, say, a 1966 Dodge Dart or something from back in the day. And now they don't have water jackets in them. We don't run a radiator, so they're solid aluminum, billet aluminum. And that's what they are. They're basically Hemi blocks from the 60s and 70s. But now they're actually Don Schumacher style blocks because we make them in-house, we run them, and we bolt these cylinder heads on that we make in-house. And it becomes a motor that's just like one in the 1960s, but 2012 style that goes 330 miles an hour with Don Schumacher style. It's good times, but that's what the block is. It's basically an old style 1960 style block that we have made perfect in every way possible. That's what we use.
Why does the torque make the engine lean to the right when it's rotating to the left?
That is a great question, and the best way I can explain to it, it almost takes me back to school again, but it's like Newton's laws of physics. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So by the engine actually rotating the opposite way, when it torques the tires, it makes it thrust and goes to the opposite direction of that is actually turning. So that's just the Newton laws of physics, and trust me, our drag racing is a chemistry experiment and a science experiment going wrong.
Why is Tony the only DSR driver to run the canopy, and will anybody else use it?
Tony's the only one running it currently because of the timing of when it was approved prior to the countdown. And because of that, only Tony tested with it prior to Brainerd and prior to the countdown. So until we get further along in the countdown or to the end of the season, I don't believe anybody else will put it on. At least neither Antron or Spencer will have it on their cars until after the countdown is done with. Next year, all of my fuel dragsters will definitely be running a canopy.
How many pedals does a top fuel dragster have?
Well, in a top fuel dragster, it's pretty simple. A lot of folks think there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but there's a whole bunch of stuff going on when I'm driving the car. But obviously it has a throttle pedal and it has a clutch pedal. It doesn't have a brake pedal because we have a hand brake. But that's it, just a clutch pedal and a gas pedal, brake handle, fuel shutoff lever, and parachute levers. Pretty simple, but trust me, at 330 miles an hour, there's a lot of stuff going on.
What does 8,000 horsepower feel like?
Well, it feels like 5 Gs, you know. I like to tell people it's a lot like 7,500 horsepower, just a little more, you know. There's no way for me to explain it. If I told you it was like getting hit by a semi at 100 miles an hour, you've probably never been hit by a semi at 100 miles an hour. If I told you it was like getting shot out of a cannon, odds are you've never been shot out of a cannon. So it's a good kick in the pants. It's probably 5 times the acceleration of a roller coaster going down. But even that description, you know, you may know a roller coaster, but who knows 5 times it? So wicked fast, and all I can tell you is you got to count on the people that build it because they are absolutely critical at that time.
On Twitter, we got the question, what is it like to work for an awesome team like DSR?
Well, obviously, it's wonderful. I mean, we have great sponsors. We have awesome hospitality. We have so many great folks that we work with that makes all this happen, like yourself, like our PR folks, like Leah. She makes everything happen for media relation. Well, on other teams, you might not have that. You might not have all the parts and the great sponsors. Don Schumacher Racing is unbelievable for many reasons. Number one is because he wants to do this. Don puts all this out here for us to have fun and race. He brings in the great sponsors. I couldn't ask for a better team. It's awesome to race for Don Schumacher Racing.